Good evening. Welcome to this evening's council meeting for September 12th, 2016. I'm Mayor Ted Schaefer, and with me this evening are my council colleagues, Councillor Jack Arnold, Councillor Paul Albrecht, Councillor Rudy Storteboom, Councillor Gail Martin, Councillor Val Vandenbroek, Councillor Nathan Pahal, and with us from the staff table is Darren Light, our Director of Corporate Services, Carolyn Machada, Manager of Legislative Services, Francis Chung, our CAO. At the other table we have Gerald Minchuk, Director of Development Services and Economic Development, Rick Baumhoff, Director of Engineering, Parks and Environment, and Kim Hilton, Director of Recreation, Culture and Community Services. And they have long titles. So, I need an adoption of the agenda that is before us. I need Councillor Vandenbroek, Councillor Martin. All those in favor? It's unanimous 4. Adoption of the minutes of the regular meeting held on July 25th, 2016. Adopted as circulated and moved in a seconder. Councillor Martin, Councillor Arnold. All those in favor? It's unanimous 4. Minutes of the public hearing held on July 25th, 2016, adopted as circulated. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Pahal and Councillor Storteboom. All those in favor? It's unanimous 4. Under the Mayor's report, our next regular council meeting is September 19th, 2016, which is a week from today. Regular council meeting October the 3rd. That one will be televised. Councillor Storteboom, do you have anything from Metro Vancouver?
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one meeting with the Climate Action Committee this past week, and of particular interest, I'd like to draw our council representatives and staff and those who might be watching at home to a new interactive website provided by the Government of Canada, where they're asking for feedback in this interactive website with 4 different working parts. It's available at www.canada.ca/climate-action. The 4 parts are how and where to reduce emissions, clean technology, innovation and job creation, how to prepare for impacts of a changing climate, and putting a price on carbon. Also, at the provincial level, the BC government released its climate leadership plan on August the 19th, and this plan is available online at engage.gov.bc.ca/climate leadership. And the committee has advised the board with respect to Metro Vancouver's input to the province during both phases of consultation for this plan. And that's it for now.
Thank you, Councillor Storteboom. Question?
Yeah, Councillor Storteboom, thank you. I was wondering, with the recent adoption of the BC's Climate Action Plan update, did Metro Vancouver have a position on that yet, or are they developing that?
There's no, through the Mayor, there's no formal position established with that regard. They're looking at it, and they'll be making further recommendations. They have been able to provide input on 2 separate occasions for both separate opportunities by which the province made it available for Metro to provide input.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have Tourism Langley. Councillor Martin.
Thank you. This is a little lengthy because we haven't met for a couple of months, but based on statistics from both visitor services and on hoteliers, 2016 is shaping up to be one of the busiest years on record. Comparing May to August 2015 to May to August 2016, Tourism Langley's visitor services team experienced an increase of almost 1,100 visitors that they greeted and served during this 4-month period. That's 117% over last year. Much of this success can be attributed to the ability to attend more events through their mobile visitor services program. The most common request from visitors is still, what is there to do and see in Langley? And maps and directions and recommendations for food and beverage. From the hoteliers report, while 2015 was a record-breaking year in the number of overnight stays, an 18% increase in occupancy over the previous year, 2016 is exceeding forecasts and to date are up another 8% in occupancy. Almost every weekend for the months of June, July and August they were sold out. Tourism Langley is about to launch a new marketing campaign aimed at encouraging visitation and extended stays during the shoulder season months. For Langley, this is typically the months of October through to April. As reported, the accommodation providers have been at capacity for summer months for the past several years and have recommended that Tourism Langley seek marketing opportunities that will fill empty rooms during the winter and spring months. The marketing campaign will include a new video all about pausing from your hectic lifestyle and catching your breath here in Langley. It will be heavily marketed on websites, social media, paid media, and traditional advertising. And just as an aside, I'll see the first take of this video on Thursday. And our employee at Tourism Langley, Munn, has been working very hard these past couple of months, increasing our community's opportunities in sport hosting. He connected with our Parks and Rec team, and as a result, the City of Langley just secured a major event for March 2017, the International Goalball Grand Slam. Goalball is a very unique Paralympic sport, as all of the participants are sight impaired, and it's also a very popular sport which is growing in participation and was on full display during the Paralympic Games in Rio this past weekend. What is so great about securing this event is it is a shoulder season event. There will be 20 international teams competing, a minimum of 40 rooms per night over the 3 nights, which equals 120 room nights, plus add-ons of athletes and spectators eating and shopping, rental and usage of the Tim Center, rental and usage of the Douglas Park Rec Center, and potential to host their regular events and future international events. And I'm sure our Director of Parks, Recreation and Culture is very aware of all of this, and thank them for working with Tourism Langley on that. Priority for the month of September and October is seeking authorized signatures in support from the City of Langley hoteliers to renew the additional hotel room tax. Tourism Langley does not anticipate any difficulties in renewing, as there is 100% support from the City of Langley hotel owners in favor of the renewal in 2012. The organization is currently working on the next 5-year business plan that will support the request for the bylaw renewal, as well as the application, which is due by the end of December. And I know that they're working very closely with Mr. Minchuk in regards to renewing this hotel tax. So that's it for July and August for Tourism Langley.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. Next, we have Mr. Baumhoff, who's giving us an update at Engineering, Parks and Environment. Mr. Baumhoff.
All right, thank you very much. So an update for the last couple months, I guess, is we've done the kiosk wraps, a number of them throughout the city. So these are 2 at Fraser Highway and 208 Street Causeway, and Fraser Highway, or sorry, both at Fraser and 208. And a couple more. One was at 200 Street and 53rd, and the other on Fraser Highway in front of Safeway. The wraps make a significant difference, and there's a theme to the ones that we've done recently to city attributes like McBurney Plaza, Sendell Gardens, are trying to point to different facilities that the city has that people could be curious about and go to our website and find out where they are and go and visit them. The parking stalls just in the parking lot over on South Fraser Highway has been reversed. So rather than reverse in parking, it's straight in parking, and it comes in off of Fraser Highway in the downtown area. The bank reinforcement along the Nickelmeckle River was completed during the fisheries window, and you can see here there's a picture showing the rock work and a house that's relatively close to the bank, and that's one of the main reasons for redoing that. 51st Avenue east of 208th Street, water main was replaced. That's still ongoing now. There's some beaver dam removals on Baldy Creek, so it's leading into the Nickelmeckle River, as well as there's been some beaver issues at the Bryden Lagoon, so we're hoping that by removing these and catching the beavers and removing them to other locations, that'll prevent this issue from reoccurring, or at least minimize it. Sendell Gardens, there's been significant work done at Sendell to call it, bring it back, or really do significant pruning and trimming back of the bushwork and shrubs. And we've also added a wooden pathway through part of it where the tree roots were causing significant problems to the path, the asphalt pathway. So that's a big improvement, and I encourage residents as well as council members to have a look at the work that's going on there. It's a big improvement. Bryden Lagoon stairs were removed, and we replaced them with ramps. And the annual painting of the city crest was done just before the cruise-in weekend. Douglas Sport Court was resurfaced. And also current projects are the traffic signal upgrade at 200th and Grade Crescent, 203rd Street roadworks and roundabout project, Production Way, Fraser Highway to 56th Avenue, conceptual design has been completed, as well as cost estimate. And we will be meeting with the businesses relatively soon to determine the level of interest there is on that project. And traffic calming on 48th Avenue at Simons Elementary School. Pedestrian bridge replacement at Al Anderson Pool, that will be starting within the next week if it hasn't started already. So it's just, we plan that, timed it right after the pool closing. The water model is being updated, so what that'll help us with is planning for infrastructure in the future and also updating our development cost charge bylaw. We need to know what it is that we need to assist development before we can update that bylaw. Also Douglas Crescent, 204th Street to 208th Street, roadworks and utilities that were in the design phase. That's being designed by a consultant right now. And thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Arnold and Councillor Albrecht.
Yeah, the repainting of the design out at Fraser Highway and 203, who pays for that?
The crest, the city crest?
Yeah,
The city does.
the city does. Then why was
Yes.
it done on a Sunday? Would that not be overtime?
I'm not sure. It might be because of the traffic in the area, that the intersection, it needs to be without traffic to let the paint dry for that
I thought
period of time.
originally when that was given to us originally, the guys that gave it to us, they were going to be the ones that repainted it. But then I noticed them doing it on Sunday, and I thought, that seems like an awful expensive time to be repainting something like that.
Yeah, unless we were willing to close the intersection down for a number of hours, it would be a challenge to
Whether we
paint
closed
it.
it down Wednesday or Sunday, it would still be closed down.
Councillor Albrecht.
Yes, thank you for your report, Mr. Baumhoff. I really like the wraps and the idea. I don't know who came up with that, but that was a really great idea, highlighting key points in the city. So I really appreciate that. And I just wanted to say, to pass along, thank you to our park staff for all their diligent work in getting our parks back up to a standard that is, I think, more usable and inviting to our residents. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Councillor Storteboom.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for your report. I really like the pictures. And I too wanted to compliment staff on the maintenance in the parks and the boardwalk at Sandal Gardens and the trimming, and the parks look really great. I'm very proud of the parks here in the city of Langley, and I really think they've done a great job this past season. I am curious to know, though, with regard to the relocating of those beavers out of Baldy Creek, where do you take them? To the township?
I believe they take them further up the valley.
Okay, so like Chilliwack Way or something like that?
Hope,
Okay.
out that way. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Then they're not likely to come back.
No.
Thank you again for your report.
Councillor Martin.
Thank you.
And then
Yeah,
Councillor
it's in
Pahal.
regards to the wraps. They're very, very attractive. And they're all done on city property,
Yes.
basically. But if some people do have a utility box on their property, is there any kind of a program yet from Hydro where they will cost share with the residences?
I don't believe that they have a program, but I could double check that.
Yeah, well, we could probably even check it at the UBCM. I know the last time I talked to them, they were talking about some kind of a residential program, because there are places where there are boxes on private property.
Right.
So
And these ones are only for our own facilities,
yes,
right?
on city property.
For
Very,
signal,
very
signal
attractive.
controls.
Yeah.
So Hydro and TELUS are separate from that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll check when I'm at the
Okay.
yeah, it's the UBCM. Thank you.
Councillor Pahal.
Yeah, thank you for the report. I noticed that we have our new wayfinding maps up on our trailheads, which is really great. Is there an update on any of the other wayfinding strategies for the city and our parks?
They have been busy working on constructing the poles and putting the signs on each of the individual poles, but because of the fisheries window and the sensitivity or the time constraint that we have, we put that aside until we get the projects done within the windows. So they'll be getting back to that probably in the next few weeks.
Oh, thank you very much.
Further? I know with Sendell Gardens, it's a great place for your wedding photos there, and you do have to book Sendell Gardens at the gazebo area, I understand, to have your wedding photos or function there. So to the viewing audience, check it out. It's beautiful. The staff have done a great job, and I know many people have their wedding photos taken there. So it's a great spot, and kudos to the staff. I know some of the staff put in that little bit extra, and they've taken that next step as a personal, something personal. So
Absolutely.
I know they have. So
Yep.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Next item up is our Director of Recreation, Culture, and Community Services. And Ms. Hilton will give us an update there.
Good evening, Your Worship, and members of Council and our viewing audience. An update for recreation for September, starting as always with our special events. Just want to point out the last of this McBurney Plaza Summer Series is happening this weekend in the Plaza, and it's Science in the Plaza, starting at noon, going till 3 p.m. on Saturday. You might have noticed downstairs in the lobby outside of the finance, we have our new exhibit up. So we returned the planes and whatnot to the Canadian Museum in Flight. We visited the BC Farm Museum in Fort Langley. We pushed in a tractor with a staff member on top of it through the double doors into the main lobby there. And we're just putting a few more finishing touches down there. And you can see in partnership with Langley Environmental Partners, we have some canning information. We're offering programs with them as well. And we had a sold-out program on Thursday for hot water baths. I think they made some tomato salsa. And some of our staff are contributing to the display as well, bringing in their canning goods. So stop down and have a look, and you'll get to see some neat machinery and other stuff down there. This Sunday is the Terry Fox Run. It's based out of Douglas Park, registering at 9 o'clock, and the run starts at 10 a.m. For our youth, we have a couple events coming up. We'd like to give them lots of notice. So the first one is the Haunted Maze, and that's on October 22nd. Pickup and drop-off is at Tim's Community Center, and they'll be going out to a maze and being terrified, but enjoying the candy and the costumes, all that kind of stuff. In November, it's the Stream Air Park, and this is for ages 12 to 17. They can sign up at any time at our front counter at 604-514-2940. We're talking to Thomas, our youth leader. He'll be happy to help them as well. Some of the programs, starting the week of September 19th to the 24th, we're having a sampler week. So we encourage people to come down. We have programs for preschoolers, children, and adults to sample. And if you sample the class and you're interested, you do get a 10% discount on the registration, and the programs start the following week. So check out our city website for more information on the classes that are available to try out for free. Wheelchair sports activities, we have some programs starting, and we're looking forward to hosting possibly a training camp and a tournament in our shoulder season downstairs in the Tim Center, so it's really exciting. And able and unable bodies can both participate in this sport, so we're encouraged that we can provide this opportunity for people of all abilities. And that's in conjunction with the BC Wheelchair Basketball Association. With school starting up, our After 3 program is once again up and running at HD Stafford. Forget the homework until a little bit later, unwind and get rid of some of that extra energy. Participate with Thomas, our youth leader, and there's sports and crafts and food and just hanging out. It's a great time. It's from 3 to 4:30 on Wednesdays at HD Stafford. You have to be a student at the school to go there. Once again, we're offering our photography beginner class, and there's several people in this room who have participated in it. It's a lot of fun, and one of our displays we'll be doing in the lobby downstairs later on will be photography, so you might be able to get some of your work up displayed downstairs. Cookie Monster Preschool, the first class started today. We have both 3- and 4-year-old classes, morning or afternoon. The 4-year-old classes go 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and the 3-year-olds go Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's a great program, great way for the little ones to experience being away from their parents for the first time and learning how to sit in a circle, not always quietly, but they're learning, maybe fidgeting a little bit, and we have just phenomenal instructors. So if you're interested, please phone 604-514-2865. Again, for the youth, our rec hockey is starting up again on the 23rd of September. It goes 3:30 to 4:30 at Twin Rinks. It's a $2 drop-in fee. You can rent skates there. You are required to bring your own helmet and stick to play. It's a very popular time to come. A guys' night have their time on Thursdays, starting this week from 6:30 to 8:30. Guys' time is the best time, clearly. Thomas, our youth leader, runs this one out of Tim's Community Center, but we also have the girls' night, and it's a great form of therapy. Again, for ages 12 to 17, and it's also Thursdays, and we have a female staff member who leads it and does some great activities with the girls. Council was asking for some statistics, so I thought I would share this with you. So in our first 6 months of operation, we had almost 46,000 visitors. This is just drop-in. This isn't our registered programs, and it isn't our rentals, which is just over 7,600 a month. Of those, the highest population using our facility are adults, and of the 17,700 visitors, 8,200 of those using the track mostly, but track and games room together, because that's the pass that we have. Next in line would be the seniors, and again, quite popular with the games room and track. And finally, the youth at 3,100. This summer, we hosted just over 1,300 grade 5 students at L. Anderson Pool for the Operation Waterproof. 8,200 public swimmers, length swimmers, and aquafit participants, and almost 2,000 people registered in programs. So a lot of people are becoming water smart and safe around the water, which is good to know. And also at Douglas Recreation Center with our summer day camps, almost 1,970 registrations, or campers, which is about 45 children per day. The kids were hopping and the instructors were hopping, but they had a good time and they went on some really great adventures. We will be hosting over 65 events throughout the course of the year. Most of them do happen in the summer months, and you can see the list of activities there. We also hosted 18 free family active park programs, so that's Push Play was running Tuesdays and Thursdays in Douglas Park, and people can come down with their kids and join in and do any number of different activities, whether it be sports or crafts or games. And finally, this is just a little bit of our volunteers. The Point of Pride program, we have 14 volunteers that are currently active, and they've adopted, 34 volunteers, did I say that? And they've adopted 34 parks, trails, or streets. And that's it for this evening. I'd be happy to answer questions.
Councillor Martin, Councillor Pahal.
Thank you. First of all, I want to compliment you on the graphic, the posters. They're beautiful, except the boy and the girl picture a little different. Anyway,
it's attractive to the youth.
Yeah. Do we have any outdoor tables yet over at Douglas Rec Center, table tennis?
The
or
pads are
football?
poured for
Yeah,
them, and they
I've
should
seen
be
that.
installed imminently. We'll be participating in them with our family picnic next Friday, I
okay,
hope.
great.
Along with lawn bowling and
So it's foosball and some table
two
tennis.
table tennis and one foosball.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I saw the pads and I wondered if they had arrived yet. That's fantastic. Thank you.
Councillor Pahal.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thanks for the stats. For the 65 events, are those all events that take place outside in our community as opposed to within our facility, like in indoor facilities?
No, they can be a combination,
Oh, okay.
but I would say most of them would be outdoors. I'm just looking at it, triathlon obviously, in our facility, but outside.
Yeah.
Take a Kid mountain biking is coming up. Concerts, the Seniors Expo was held at Tim's Community Center.
Okay.
We include in this stat our grand opening, because that was a big one,
yeah.
and that was indoors, obviously.
Yeah, well, it's amazing the amount of events. I don't think residents necessarily know how many free activities there are in our community. A member actually came to one of the things that was going on, playing Pokemon of all things, came into our city, saw the summer series, and was like, I didn't even know we did this stuff. And I mentioned there's something going on pretty much every weekend in the summer.
Yeah.
And this resident was like, well, I guess I'll have to go north of the Nickel Knuckle and check out our downtown. So it's really tremendous, these activities. The other question I have for the 18 free, is that inclusive of the 65, or are we doing more than 65?
Sorry. Oh, 18 is separate from the 65, and these are just the events that we host ourselves.
Yeah.
It's not the events that our staff are involved, Tara, for instance, in assisting outside groups to host their events.
That's good. And for the swimming program this year, as that number, is that higher, about the same, or a bit lower than average?
The drop-ins, public swimming was
Yeah.
lower. We seldom went up to 3 guards. I think we
Okay.
went up to 4 once, and last summer with the heat, it was a lot different.
Yeah.
So we're a little bit down in that stat, but registration's pretty consistent. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much.
I'd just like to get you to thank the staff that worked the cruise in. I know we've had some city staff working very hard with the cruise-in directors, and they put a lot of time and effort into it, and I believe the cruise-in was quite a success. The weather was perfect for it. I know my council colleagues, I believe almost all of them went in some part of it. I know 2 of my council colleagues went to the drive-in to Sandy Dunkley's function up there, and that was a tremendous turnout. And the money she raised, going to a very worthy cause. And I believe online you'll see the Mayor's Choice vehicle this year was a 57 Chevy in absolute pristine condition with a gentleman that's out of Surrey. So beautiful 57 Chev. I'd love to have it. But again, thank you to the staff that did a great job, and to the volunteers that assisted as well.
I'll
Thank
pass
you.
it on. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item we have is under the bylaws, is Bylaw 2991. And as I get myself unwrapped here, it is the city's current bylaw regulating solid waste was adopted in 1994. Many changes have been enacted to the city's solid waste collection program since the bylaw was last updated, as well as changes to the provincial recycling regulations and materials accepted at the regional landfill. The city added the collection of kitchen organics to curbside collection in 2013, and at the same time transitioned from weekly garbage collection to bi-weekly garbage collection. In 2015, Multi-Material British Columbia, MMBC, took over from residential recycling collection and processing responsibility. The new bylaw reflects these changes, as well as provides additional language regulating private collectors, recycling depots, and commercial, industrial, and institutional properties within the city. So the motion is first, second, and third reading of a bylaw cited as the Solid Waste Bylaw 2016, number 2991. And I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Albrecht. Councillor Storteboom. Any kind of a discussion as yet? Councillor Storteboom.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Bouchada, for Schedule A. I would draw your attention to page 99, section 11, subparagraph 1. It appears that there's a reference that might have been excluded, so that's a little typo there?
Somehow there was a bookmark in the original that got translated when we converted it into a
Okay.
PDF, and it should be Schedule 3(1).
Okay, so we can just move ahead, we don't have to make an amendment to the original motion
No,
for
the
that?
original bylaw states
Very good.
3(1).
Thank you for clarifying, I expected as much. I'm done.
Perfect. You're cutting into the 28 minutes here, you know that.
Please excuse me, my mic.
Okay. All righty. All those in favor? Against? It's unanimous 4. The next item we have is Bylaw 3001. That's the Municipal Ticket Information System Bylaw. And I'd just like to ask Mr. Baumhoff to explain what this is about. Well, okay, Carolyn Machada?
Sure. This is the accompanying municipal ticket information bylaw that allows staff to write tickets against the new solid waste bylaw, to which you just gave first 3 readings. As well, it was discovered that the Langley floodplain soil deposit and regulation bylaw, which is an older bylaw, had never been included in the MTI bylaw, so we've included that. And then a housekeeping item just to update the titles of the Director of Engineering and the Manager of Parks throughout Schedule A.
Aha. See, my note said rec, but okay, I need, so the bylaw 3001, first, second, and third reading of the bylaw cited as the Municipal Ticket Information System Bylaw 2011, number 2846, amendment number 7, bylaw 2016, number 3001. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Vandenbroek, Councillor Martin. Any further discussion? Councillor Storteboom.
Sorry, it's that pesky Rudy guy again. It's a very comprehensive bylaw, and I support it fully, and thank you very much for drafting it. I just can't help but be curious, the term scavenging really stuck out to me. In my experience as a property manager, scavenging was what we referred to as solid waste collection. What is scavenging in this regard, may I ask?
Scavenging would be people coming up and just taking what they want out of your garbage that you put
Okay.
at the curb,
So dumpster diving.
basically.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Did I call the question on that one? All those in favor? Against? That's what I get for looking over at Rudy. So I'm going to stare over here from now on. So, yeah, the good-looking side, they tell me, is on this side. So the admin reports is the Roberts Bank Terminal 2 update, and the motion is that Council endorses submission of letters under the Mayor's signature with copies of this report to the Premier of British Columbia and to the Roberts Bank Terminal 2 panel review for consideration as part of the environmental assessment for the RBT2 project, and requests that they require Port Metro Vancouver to undertake an analysis of the RBT2 project in relation with anticipated road and rail impacts on the local communities, and to identify appropriate measures to effectively address and mitigate impacts related to traffic, safety at rail crossings, noise, vibration, pollution, and whistling, with a view to including measures as part of the RBT2 project, and advise the panel review that the City of Langley cannot support the project unless the above concerns are adequately addressed, and that letters also be sent to the Federal Minister of Transport and Infrastructure with copies of all correspondence sent out to our MLA. Our MLA and MP. I need a mover and a seconder, and then I'll get Mr. Baumhoff to explain. Councillor Martin, Councillor Pahal, and Mr. Baumhoff.
Sure, thank you. So what this is about is in relation to Port Metro Vancouver is planning a major expansion of the Roberts Bank terminal, and they're going to be doubling the capacity of that facility if it gets approved. The limitation of the environmental review that they're conducting is based on their site only, so it doesn't look to anything beyond the area of their site. So, but doubling of the capacity of that facility also doubles the train traffic coming out of that facility, and the track that leads out of it goes right through the City of Langley. So we can expect far more trains coming through the city, as well as the lengths of the trains are going to be longer. So there is going to be a significant impact to our traffic and congestion within the city. So we are asking that these letters be forwarded to the Premier of BC. I think, that she should have an understanding of what that concern is, as well as the ministers. I suspect should we refer it to the appropriate ministers and to correspond with us, as well as at the federal level. This is a project of national significance. It's creating jobs nationally. It's providing a benefit nationally. The federal government should be coming forward, in our view, with assistance to deal with this additional congestion issue. So that's what these letters are about.
Thank you. I have Councillor Albrecht, then Councillor Martin, Councillor Pahal.
Yes, and thank you, Mr. Baumhoff, for this report. I agree wholeheartedly. But going back to Councillor Storteboom and the Metro Vancouver area of concern in terms of greenhouse gases and environmental impacts, I think it's silent on that, or relatively silent, so I wouldn't mind if that could be incorporated into that research and ask and trying to get some kind of clarification on what measures they're taking to reduce those greenhouse gases as per the provincial and federal mandates that have been outlined to communities throughout and across Canada. So, thank you. I support it. Thank you.
Councillor Martin.
Thank you. Well, I too agree that we have to put our concerns forward. The overpasses that we have recently had in regards to, I guess, Roberts Bank 1 have been a big help, but we're still stuck with traffic on Fraser Highway, 200th Street, and of course the Langley bypass. And 200th and the bypass, and then the bypass over by Glover Road. I mean, when there's a train going by, the traffic is absolutely horrendous. So, that kind of stuff, we have to really give consideration to that, because along 200th Street, we can be backed up for, good 10, 15 minutes. So I'm in full support of this, and thank you very much for your report.
Councillor Pahal.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Baumhoff. I want to second what Councillor Albrecht said, too, about the cumulative GHG effects in the region, because that affects us. In addition, we have the increased rail traffic, which comes with increased diesel emissions, which has been shown to have human health impacts when you're in close proximity. So I don't know if that might be able to be touched on in that letter as well. And I know the township's done a fair bit of work on it as well. Will we be also asking for that environmental assessment area to be expanded to include the city as well in that ask? Or how are we approaching that?
I hadn't thought of that, but we could include that in the request, yes.
Okay. That would just be fantastic. Thank you.
Yep.
Councillor Storteboom.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Baumhoff, for taking the initiative to prepare this report and pursue this very important concern for our community. As you may recall, at our last regularly scheduled meeting, the Port of Vancouver was here, and I asked them if they'd be doing a lineal study of the line to determine environmental impacts, and they expressed no interest in that. And judging by all of the correspondence that you've attached to your report, it seems that these questions have been going on for a good long time, and we haven't been getting any recognition at all. I'm not sure what it's going to take if writing a letter is actually even going to be enough. I mean, it may be that the current premier, current provincial government might deem fit to address the environmental impact on a lineal basis as it runs through our community, but there's no indication from the past that they will do so. And I can't help but wonder what else may be required. Considering letters from other municipalities, I can't help but wonder if it might be worth connecting with our neighbors and asking if we should mount some kind of a challenge. So As far as writing letters goes, that would be great, and we'll add to the list, but I think we should probably even ask, beyond that, what kind of mitigation? The environmental impacts are pretty obvious. In fact, the township delivered a report about 10 years ago identifying the challenges associated with that. So it's obvious there is an environmental impact. Maybe we should be asking for some kind of appropriate mitigation as well. So these are my thoughts, and thank you again for your report, and moving forward I'll hope that we'll get some action on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Baumhoff. Councillor Storyblum, anything further? Seeing none, all those in favor? Against? It's unanimous 4. To Ms. Machada, just for clarification on that bylaw 2991, the Schedule A, that was included in that, wasn't it? Yes. Yeah. And we received some correspondence from the Canadian Cancer Society. We move for receipt there. Councillor Martin, Councillor Vanderbroek, and all those in favor? Good. Any new business, old business, some business? None? No. Move to adjourn. Councillor Bahal, Councillor Vanderbroek, all those in favor? Thank you. We'll see you in a week.